You started our discussion mentioning the one thing that was ever present in my mind in those 20 years as a recruitment specialist, and that was the delicate balance between cost and investment.
Mm.
If a client doesn't understand what you're trying to do, they'll go to the last page of your proposal and see how much it costs and
Yeah.
roll their eyes.
Yeah.
If you give them something that makes them hopeful, at least they're starting to be on board about the investment value of the work that PeduL does and the value that it provides. One of the things that I have seen from my own purview that's really caught fire is this notion of talent lifetime value.
Mm.
A recruitment company client, if they're worth their salt, are going to think well past the cost of recruiting and onboarding that new person to, if we've done our job right, we're going to have them for the long term. And if we do that, we satisfy one of the itchy points that many Gen Z are concerned about, and that is economic stability, job stability. I know that Gen Z have gotten a lot of notoriety lately for short tenures, but I don't think that's their fault. I think that's the fault of an old system
Yep.
that hasn't figured out their true value, their secret sauce, and perhaps re-engineered the workplace to get the best out of them. So I'm wondering if you could talk, Vivek, about this notion of lifetime value, which goes beyond ROI. What it basically means is, yeah, I'm thinking about the return on that investment, but the lifetime value thinks about the contributions that that person could make 6 months out, 9 months out, 12 months out, 2 years out, 5 years out, maybe even 10 or more. What are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think you nailed it, which is it's not like Gen Z wants to keep applying to new jobs and have 10 careers in 10 years, right?
Mhm.
Which is we're kind of being forced into it a little bit. I mean, not entirely. There's nuance to that conversation, but I think it goes back to what I was saying about Gen Z really, along with stability, there's this idea that like we want to change the world, which is true,
Which is
but
true.
let's shrink it down a little bit. Let's just call it change. We want to affect change, and that can be something little, right? So one of the things that there was a survey, I forgot who did it, but it came out and it was astounding how many Gen Zers were like, I just wish my hiring manager or my manager or whatever would talk to me more one-on-one, right?
Mm.
Like I just wish I got more feedback. I just wish I knew the impact I was having. And when you dig a little bit deeper, what you'll see is oftentimes when a manager gives feedback to their Gen Zer or to an employee, they're conveying the feedback that contributes to the bottom line of the company. So let's use sales for example.
Mhm.
A manager will come up to their Gen Z salesperson, say, "Great job, you closed X amount of deals, you got this many people on, your conversion was this. Here's your cut. Great job, you're here to stay. We might promote you." Right? That's the statistics that the manager and their manager might care about, which is also important to the Gen Zer. But how did that Gen Zer actually make a difference in those people's lives or the deals that they closed, right? So instead of, hey, you closed 5 deals, you just helped 5 new people integrate something into their startup so now they can affect. You need to make it more tangible, and you need to make it more impact oriented so the Gen Zer doesn't see statistics all the time, but they see the action or change behind the statistic. I think that's really important. So if you put communication standards in where like your Gen Zer doesn't feel ignored, you allow the Gen Zer to see the change behind the statistic, and you're allowing the Gen Zers to communicate ideas effectively and quickly, even if it's a bad idea, and you can tell them it's a bad idea, but just get feedback on it.
Mhm.
These are ways that Gen Zers are finding purpose in their work. Because at the end of the day, that's really what they want. And frankly, with the creator economy and with the ability of AI and different tools for Gen Zers to monetize things so quickly, if they don't find purpose in their work from the 9 to 5 job, they will leave, and it might be another job. It might just be their own thing, because now Gen Zers are figuring out how to make money in all sorts of ways that don't require a 9-to-5 job. So I think those are the key things when it comes to like retaining someone for the long term.